Hey folks, how you doing? It's King here, and it's time for another Record of the Week video. I've been kind of lagging doing these Records of the Weeks. I think I missed the last 2 weeks or something like that because life has just been moving insanely fast for me. And now that it looks like life is kind of moving at a more normal pace, I won't be as busy as I normally was. I now have time to do more of these videos. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get started here. As you can hear in the background, I'm going to be going to hard rock 80s for this record from Queensryche, Rage for Order. One of my personal favorite records from this band. I mean, this album is just killer, absolutely killer. Came out in 1986, and I remember when this album came out, I was somewhere around 16, 17 years old when I first heard it. I had a friend who was all into the 80s metal bands at the time. And this was one that he kept playing a lot when I was hanging around with him. And I think I just heard it from him. And this song right here, Walk in the Shadows, was one of the first songs to kind of hook me into this band Queensryche. When I heard that song, or the song in the background, oh man, I was hooked instantly. I like, who is this band? Who are these guys? I gotta listen to more of this. I mean, it instantly hooked me. It was 80s metal. But there was something that just separated from the other metal bands, and at the time I couldn't put my finger on it. But now I listen. But now as I listen to more metal, I realize that their studio productions to me is what separated them, and they got some great songs on here. I'm not saying they're better than everybody else, but something about their songwriting really attracted me to them. I thought they had really interesting songs, and it hooked me. But the biggest thing that hooked me is the drummer on this record. You know me, it's all about drummers. And Queensryche has a fantastic drummer by the name of Scott Rockenfield. He is just a major, major talent on the drum set. That's this guy right here. He looks a little different now than he did then, but needless to say, he's a fantastic drummer. He really writes some very interesting drum parts and some very creative fills. And he's just one of those physical drummers that's just fun to watch and fun to listen to. And I was just taking up drums by the time I discovered this album. And his drumming influenced me in a big way. It really got me practicing hard. And so I could just hit cool stuff like this. Old tom pattern. Drumming like that was a big influence on me back in those days. Well, still now, but especially then. I just heard that and thought, God, that's pretty cool. I just hear normally in 80s hard rock at the time, I was just hearing straightforward drumming. This was really busy stuff that looked complicated to play and sounds complicated. Anyway, one thing that also attracted me besides the drumming was the songwriting team between Chris DeGarmo and Geoff Tate. And that's these two guys here. That's Geoff Tate, the lead singer. That's DeGarmo right there. Basically lead guitarist and co-songwriter for most of the songs on this album. Yeah, they were a great team. I mean, of course, the other band members, Eddie Jackson and Mike Wilton, they wrote songs as well, but a lot of what I loved about Queensryche came from DeGarmo and Geoff Tate. I thought those two guys together, they were a great team, and they just created magic. I mean, some of the best 80s metal songs I've ever heard, as you can hear here. I always love the way Geoff Tate's voice sounds in this song. Anyway, that song is called I Dream in Infrared. And just the magic those two songwriters did together, I thought was great. That really, to me, was the sound of Queensryche. You know, that amazing drumming by Scott Rockenfield and some amazing songwriting between Geoff Tate and Chris DeGarmo. This band was bulletproof, and all those were firing up on all cylinders. They were a force to be reckoned with. Unfortunately, button heads a little too often in the studio. forced Chris DeGarmo to leave the band. And I think he left somewhere around early to mid 90s. And Queensryche has just never been the same without DeGarmo. In fact, they plummeted downhill as soon as he left the band, was no longer writing for their albums. I think they were just never the same band, and they never got it back. And especially nowadays, now Jeff Tate is out of the band, and Queensryche's being fronted by a different singer and another guitarist. It's just not quite the same. I mean, yeah, it's still entertained the same live, but they don't quite have the magic and the strength they had on this album. And this album just influenced me huge. I mean, besides Walking in the Shadows, I Dream of Fred, some other great songs on here is The Killing Words, London, Screaming in Digital, I Will Remember. Just some powerhouse 80s metal. One of my favorite albums from Queensryche. Of course, I love Operation Mindcrime and Empire and Promised Land, but this album has really got me looking at the band Queensryche and realizing just how awesome they are. Anyway, that's going to do it for Record of the Week. Just a quick little pick. Queensryche, Rage for Order. I do see this around quite a bit in shops, and not an expensive record at all. This used copy only cost me like $3-4, and I've seen it even cheaper than that and in good condition. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's as common as dirt, but they do pop up every now and then if you keep a good eye out for it. If you're an 80s metal fan, this will be a really interesting listen. The production on this, the studio recording on it, is really good. The layers of vocals and guitars, you know, the voices and different effects coming in and out the right, left ear. It's really nice. It really is a well-made record, and I recommend this one to you guys. For those 80s metal fans who probably don't have this already, do yourself a favor and give this a listen. You'll dig it. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you guys at the next video.